Hi friends, thank you so much for being here. Today's video is going to be part 2 to a little series on my channel called Makeup Techniques Everyone Should Know. We've all been applying our concealer wrong, first of all. I gotta clock that T for myself. I recently learned some new techniques that have changed my makeup game, and especially if you are acne prone, if you have hyperpigmentation, scarring, such as myself, then you need to sit down, grab a snack, and watch this video. So if you want to know all of the makeup techniques that you should be doing, that you should know right now, I will link part 1 here. I might be repeating some of the things that I say in that one, like this first tip. I don't care if you have oily skin, I need you to prep your skin in this way. First of all, I want you to get yourself a milky toner. My favorite one ever is the Good Light Moon Glow Milky Toning Lotion. This is my 3rd one. I swear by this. Also, I know Ilya has some kind of like milky toner. I like these because this is basically a very quick glass of water for my skin. It's extremely thin. It sinks in almost immediately, especially in these areas where we get wrinkles, where our face folds a lot. We're gonna need that extra hydration because you need hydration to prevent your makeup from breaking up, from looking cracked, from settling into all these fine lines. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but probably the reason that your makeup is creasing underneath your eyes and the folds of your face is because it's dry. Let that sink in for a good 3 minutes. Then I want you, if you have oily skin, I want you to get a gel moisturizer. This is the one that I've been using. I really like this Dalba White Truffle. This is the dual-sided one that they have. So they do have a serum-y gel on this side and then a thick cream on this side. You're gonna let that sink in for another 3 to 5 minutes. Then I want you to put on your SPF. Yes, especially if you have texture, especially if you have acne, you need to be wearing SPF. It's going to just make those spots, those little marks on your face get worse if you're out in the sun unprotected. The sun is only going to make those wrinkles and lines deeper and those spots darker. This is a little extra step. This is not necessary, but for me, it does kind of feel necessary, especially if acne prone skin. I want you to go ahead and get a hypochlorous acid. I've gone through like 5 of these. I know Tower 28 has their own hypochlorous acid. That one is literally the same thing as this, but like twice the price. Just get this, the Skin Smart Eczema Therapy. This is a antimicrobial, which means that it's going to kill all the bacteria that's on your face that's causing those bumps and acne. If you don't suffer from acne, congratulations. You can just go in with a spray serum, again from Dalba. I really like this one. I'm almost done with it. Or the Pixie Hydrating Milky Mist. But again, that's just an extra step. After you do all of those steps, I want you to wait at least 20 minutes. 30 minutes is ideal. If you're going in immediately after, those products are still sitting on your skin, and that's when we're gonna have things moving around, things slipping off, things breaking up. This next technique is, again, specifically for my acne-prone girlies, gays, and them bees. You are going to get a pot concealer or a stick concealer. I do not want to see you covering your acne with a liquid concealer anymore. Even if it's full coverage, even if it's the Huda Beauty one, I don't care. Today I'm gonna go in with the NYX one. This is just the one that I've been loving lately. I do not want you to apply this directly to your face because you are automatically going to over apply. I want you to take your hand or a palette and I want you just to rub some of that, get it really nice and creamy, so it starts melting with the warmth of your natural body temperature. That's what we want. Then I want you to take either kind of brush like this. I have 2 options for you. This first one is a smaller domed brush for more pinpointed blending. This one is the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. Or if you don't have as many spots, if you just have like a couple around the face, go for something like this. This is the Lunar Beauty LBE7, a small detail brush like this. Sigma also has a comparable brush like this. I'm gonna use this little detail brush. I have my concealer ready right here, and literally as if you're painting, you're gonna load up your brush. You're gonna go to the spot. Let's start off with this really dark one right here. I just want you to tap. We're not blending, we're just gonna tap the coverage on all of these little spots. You've made all the spots on your face. I'm gonna switch over to this brush now because this just makes blending a little bit quicker. The very center of where the spot is, I want you to leave alone. I don't want you to blend it. I don't want you to touch it at all. What we're going to do is we're going to literally blend the edges only. We're doing this because we've already put pigmentation right in the center of the spot, and we want that coverage to stay there. Because you know, sometimes when you're trying to cover up a spot and you go over and it's like the coverage just keeps being taken away the more that you blend. This is why we're gonna do this technique, and we're only gonna blend the edges. That way we're maintaining the coverage where it's most important, where that darkness or that redness lives at most. Already, look at the difference between this side, where we've done a little bit of the spot concealing, versus this side, we still have everything showing. Then what I want you to do is I want you to get a loose setting powder, specifically a loose setting powder. I do not want you to use a pressed powder. A loose setting powder, one, these are just naturally, the form of this product is thinner than a pressed powder, and when you're dealing with acne and texture and raised bumps and stuff, the thinner the product sits on your skin, the better. So I swear by a loose pressed powder, and I want you to get a small fluffy brush like this. This one is my favorite from Real Techniques, the setting brush. I want you to just get a little bit in the cap, or you can use your palm as well. I want you to very, very lightly coat this brush, top off any excess. Now, there's going to be barely any powder on this brush. That's a good thing. What we want to do is, again, we're going to press right over where we put that concealer. Also, this is going to help mask the shine that pimples have, the oiliness that they have, whether it's a whitehead or if it's just red. There's going to be some kind of light reflecting off that. So I also like doing this because this setting powder is going to mattify your skin just enough where it's going to take away that shine. I just put my skin tint on. So this is what we're looking like now that we have concealed our imperfections. If you have oily skin, you might prefer to get an eyeliner and use that instead of your concealer. You would literally do the same exact thing, just with an eyeliner that is kind of close to your skin tone. This one by Rimmel, this is the shade 05 Nude. Right there. Yes, it's still lighter than my skin tone, but it's close enough. So I would just go in directly with the face, but you're gonna blend it out the same way, set it the exact same way. So if you can find an eyeliner that is kind of similar to your skin tone and you have oily skin, that might be a better option for you. If you're going to listen to anything that I have to say today, let it be for this technique. This has completely revolutionized how my concealer looks and wears, so listen up. The things that you're going to need. I want you to get a liquid concealer. I just think overall, no matter what your skin type is, liquid is just way, way more forgiving. I want you to get a brush, yes. I don't want you guys to use your fingers or beauty blenders for your concealer anymore. I'm tired of seeing beauty blenders for concealers and then y'all wondering why your concealer has no coverage and it's creasing. I want you to get a brush. Again, this is the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. This is my favorite brush for concealing. Then I want you to get a loose setting powder, and bonus points if you have a puff as well. You can still get a flawless under eye without a puff, but I just think this really takes it to the next level. I'm using 2 concealers just because I'm a little bit paler right now, and this is just gonna help me shade match. What I want you to do with your concealer, you are not gonna put it underneath the eyes. I don't wanna see any of you bitches putting concealer directly, applying it like that with the wand underneath the eyes ever again. Don't do that shit. Put a dot, I'm being so for real, a single dot in your palm. It doesn't matter how dark your under eyes are because I'm mixing 2 shades. I'm just gonna add a little bit of the other shade. This is honestly more than enough concealer for my entire under eye. You see how little that is compared to how most of us are probably doing it, is we're just swiping it with the applicator underneath our eyes, and that's applying way too much product. And then you're wondering why even after you set your concealer still creasing, because you're applying a boatload of product This is literally all you need, all right? I want you to take your brush. I want you to just lightly coat that brush. I'm not even using all of the concealer I have. This is how much I'm starting with, all right? Looking into your mirror. I want you to start lower in the face, not in your crease. We want to put as little product as possible in this crease to help prevent creasing. So I want you to start lower, right where your darkness or whatever you're trying to cover up starts. And I do think that a thin, full coverage concealer is the best way to go. That way you can literally use next to nothing and still get the effect that you want. You saw how little product I use, and look at that difference. You really do not need a lot of product, you guys. Now we're here. You're not gonna touch this, you're not gonna set this, you're not even gonna think about doing anything with these under eyes until you've applied all of your other eyeshadow, cheek products, everything. I'm being so serious. Don't touch this under eye. This next technique is going to be for those of you who come across either of these two issues. One, if you find that your products blend away, you're applying your bronzer, then when it's time to apply your blush, you feel like, where did your bronzer go? Or second, if you have trouble with your cheek products just looking like a patch here, a patch here, a patch here, and not looking cohesive and blended, this one's for you. It doesn't matter whether you're using a liquid highlight, a cream highlight, a powder highlight, loose highlight, whatever. I want you to apply your highlighter before other cheek products. I want you to start putting your highlighter on before your bronzer and before your blush, but after you've already concealed and put on your foundation, skin tint, whatever. I find that when you apply your highlight first and then you blend the other products around it, your highlight looks so lived in and seamless. It's not gonna look like it's sitting on top of your face. It's not gonna look like a stripe at all. If you're using a liquid or cream highlight, I want you to blend that hoe with your finger and your finger only. And you know, if you're having a difficult day, whatever, something's not perfectly blending out with your finger, then and only then do I want you to get a brush. I don't want you to get a sponge. I kind of want all of us to be our own little makeup artists and really stick to brushes and fingers only. I think it works best for your cream products if your bronzer and your blush are of the same type of product. Today, I wanted to bronze with my Milk Cream bronzer stick, so I chose a cream blush to go with it, and here's why. I want you to either paint it on your face or on your palm or a palette. Your bronzer obviously is gonna go further back onto the face. Right here next to your bronzer, add a little bit more bronzer, but then add a little bit of your blush right there. And then where your actual blush is supposed to go, swipe that hoe on. Again, we're taking a brush and we're gonna start in the back of the face. We're patting, we never swipe this way or this way. We always pat. I tend to blend up when I'm doing my cheek products. Then we can start moving a little closer into the face. And I like this technique because I feel like even beginners can do this. And this will work on basically every single face shape. You can't tell where one ends and begins, but they're still holding their own and they're not just blended into one color. Now we're here. Notice how I still haven't touched my concealer. I'm still not touching my concealer yet. And you shouldn't be touching your concealer either. We're gonna talk about nose contouring next. My favorite is the Milk Makeup Sculpt Stick in the shade Stoked for my nose. I want you to get an eyeshadow brush. This one's from IT Cosmetics. I believe this is a packing brush or a smudge brush, but something that is small like this, that basically can fit in your eye, but is domed. If you're working with a cream or liquid, again, I do recommend rubbing some of that onto your palm or a palette and working your little brush onto there. But since I cannot twist this up to do that, I do just work from here. But again, I still have my palm here ready. If I need to take some excess off, it's right here. This is going to work no matter what your nose looks like, how big, how small, whatever. Right at the beginning of your eyebrow, or if you don't have eyebrows, right, you can feel this bone where your eye meets your nose, starting right here. I want you to take just a tiny bit of that contour, and I want you to press. We're not going to draw any lines because that's going to take away the coverage we have underneath. We're literally just going to pat. I like this because naturally we're going to apply the most color here, and then it's going to soften as we go down. This is going to look super, super natural, as opposed to, I know you've seen the girls, maybe you're one of these girls and that's okay, where you see their nose contour and it looks very obvious that it's a nose contour because they're putting a lot of color right here. Naturally, most people's noses, we're not gonna have a lot of shadow right here, but naturally, because all of us have some kind of depth in our eye. Even if you have a monolid, you have some kind of depth here in this bone. Naturally, more shadow exists up here. And if you really want to be extra like me, I also like to go right underneath the tip of my nose. You can tell with my natural anatomy that my nose kind of goes a little bit in right here and in right here. So I'm just gonna put a little shadow right there and right there. And to finish off that blending, because we do still have to soften those lines a little bit, I want you to get a bigger brush. I like using this fan brush from NYX just because it makes the blending super, super quick. Or you can use your bronzer brush again. And there's no product on here, no excess product. And I'm just gonna go very lightly over everything that we did. And you see just how subtle but effective that is? That's what I want you to do. We're finally going to finish off this concealer. So I'm just gonna use the same eyeshadow brush I was using for my nose. And I want you to take the butt of the eyeshadow and literally look up into the crease. You're gonna place this brush and you're just gonna roll it ever so slightly back and forth, up and down. And it's gonna get off that excess concealer. That's why we let it sit, so that our natural creases are gonna do what they do and they crease. The product's gonna settle in that crease. And then later on, once the concealer has some time to really sit in our skin and become friends with our skin, then we're gonna take off this excess. Imagine if you hadn't had done this and you just went and set all of that excess product that is going to crease. Even if you set it, it is going to crease, and now you have set creases. You're gonna go back into that loose powder. Same thing we did earlier with the acne. We're gonna get a small, light little brush like this, something that fits your under eye area. Really work it into the powder, but tap off that excess. And then we're gonna very lightly pat the under eye. We're not sweeping at all, patting. This is where our puff comes in, and I truly believe that this is gonna take your concealer level from good to flawless. Take your little puff. I prefer these little finger ones from e.l.f. because again, they fit my under eye. I'm gonna go back into my translucent setting powder. Yes, we're still using a translucent setting powder. We will get to the pressed powder in a little bit. I'm just gonna get a little bit of the powder, do what I always do, which is press that hoe into your hand, your palm, to really work it in. And we're gonna do the exact same thing, patting and setting that hoe again. Now, if you really want to use that pressed powder, this is when you're gonna bring that hoe out. Again, we're taking our puff, and this is gonna bridge our nose contour technique in with our concealer technique. Again, gonna press that hoe in. I want most of the brightness right here, so that's where I'm gonna start. Now you see where the edge of this contour is. I'm gonna go right up next to it, which is right here, and I'm gonna apply that brightening powder, or it could just be a regular pressed powder, doesn't matter, and I'm gonna apply that hoe right next to the edge of where my contour is. That's gonna further snatch it up and sharpen your nose contour. So look at this difference. I haven't set this side at all. Completely set. And when I tell you, this is going to look exactly like this for 10 hours. Quick little thing about eyebrows. Doesn't matter when you do your eyebrows. I need you to get a spoolie like such, or even a puff, and I want you to dry your eyebrows. I want you to take a puff. This one had the powder excess left over from our concealer and everything, so I'm not putting any extra powder on this puff. And I literally powder my eyebrows, especially if you have a little pimple in there. Going back to what we were saying earlier about if you're mattifying that darkness or that pimple, it's going to help erase it because light isn't going to be drawing attention to it. Same thing with this. Also, if you have oily skin, this is just going to help your eyebrow pencil, pomade, and brow gel adhere to your eyebrow. And for those of you that have dry skin, or you're wondering like, oh, but Elise, but I can't put all that powder on my face, blah, blah, blah. But you prepped your skin right, though. But if you prepped your skin, even if you have dry skin, that moisturizer and everything underneath is still doing its thing, is still keeping your skin hydrated. So even if you have dry skin and going in with powder, you should still be looking pretty flawless. Did you know that you can contour your eye without using eyeshadow? You just need 2 different eyeliners, specifically in your waterline. I really like gel eyeliners specifically because they're super creamy, but they do set down. This one is from Persona Cosmetics, and it is their waterproof eye pencil. I do think a waterproof one is definitely the way to go to. So just a darker brown, black, whatever suits your fancy. And then you're gonna get a nude for your skin tone pencil for your waterline. Again, this is the Rimmel Scandalize in 05. First, I'm gonna tilt my head down, but I'm gonna have my mirror up above my head. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of that darker eyeliner in the outer third. And I'm immediately gonna go in with my nude pencil. It's very, very subtle, but especially if you're into natural makeup or you don't wanna put eyeshadow on the lower lash line, this is a little trick just to further emphasize your eyes. If you're concerned about the longevity of your lip liner, I got a little hack for you. That's honestly so simple. I don't know why it took me this long to figure this out. This next hack is how you're going to make your lip combo stay on even through a 10-hour day, even through eating and drinking. First, I highly recommend you get one of these peel-off lip stains. These Sachu peel-off ones are my favorite. This is in the shade 03 Paint. I put it all over my lip, not just my lip line, because personally for me, I do like to have my color in the center stay as well. Then you're going to take, honestly, any lip liner. Today, I'm using the REM Beauty lip liner in EQ. This is one of those grippy, long-wearing lip liners, so go ahead, line your lips as you do. And since I already had a little bit of that color down, I never feel the need to over apply my lip liner. I'm just filling in any of the little spaces that maybe the stain didn't stick to. Honestly, this whole video is like about setting powder and a puff. These are just honestly like the 2 most handy tools in my makeup kit. You're gonna get a puff, you're gonna get your translucent setting powder, really work that hoe in. Tap off the excess as normal. You really don't want or need a lot of powder. And you're literally going to powder your lips. And I always like to go over just one more time because sometimes the powder can make your lips look a little bit ashy or leave like a white cast. But this is just going to further prolong the wear of adding another layer of your lip pencil. And then I want you to get a lip stain. This is my favorite one from Romand, their Juicy Lasting Tint in the shade Peeling and Dew. It's probably a fruit, I don't know. But I like to put this basically where the lip liner isn't. So in the center of my lips, let that sit until it starts to dry down, or just a couple of minutes for it to really stain your lips, and then pat those hoes off. If you're going to wear this as your main lip color for the day, just apply another layer that's going to be extra insurance. But I want to put on a gloss, but I have my double down lip liner completely set and the lip stain with the lip stain liner underneath that. So extra insurance on everything, and then a gloss on top. Just because. And those are all the makeup techniques that I think you should know. Let me know if you try any of these out and how they worked for you. If you have any questions, please, please, please comment down below. I also always have my social media linked if you want to DM me in that way as well. I'm thinking it's looking pretty flawless. It's glowy, but we're not dry. We're set and mattified in the places we need to be, but we're not looking cakey or crackly. If you want more videos like these, more Get Ready With Me's tutorials, reviews, and other makeup things, then like, comment, subscribe. I am sending you guys so much love and light, and I will see you in the next one.